You're listening to the Australian Hunting and Beyond podcast with Matt, where we talk about hunting, shooting, fishing, camping, and everything else that the great outdoors has to offer. Let's get into it. All right, loved chatting with this fella last time, and since then I've been using a few of his books and recipes, so it's great to have Jason from Hunt, Catch, Cook on, because not only do I want to talk about his cooking tonight, geez, he's been doing some pretty cool shit lately. Those camels and everything, I mean, yeah, I'm hanging to hear that, mate. How are you?
How you going, Matty? How's things, mate? How's the podcast industry?
Oh, mate, you know, it's going good. You know, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Can't complain too much, but it's a lot easier now having one person. So there's just less editing and all that. So it's that's been a blessing in disguise. But
funny you say that, because I've one of the admin of I was adminning the page. Or one of my mates has helped me admin the page, and he's just left as well. So it's kind of easy, you know, when you're doing it solo, you make the mistakes, you cop it. It's one person doing the whole lot. So it's more of, I suppose, responsibility is yours, and you have the final word. So I can see where you're coming from in that sense.
Oh, mate, 100%. It's just it gets hard when there's multiple people and different directions, different things, and like when you're on your own, it's so much easier because there's no one else to run things past. Even booking guests. Not having, you and I back and forth just texting, but I could make decisions on the spot without having to then go and speak to a co-host and say, oh, is this date work for you? Is this time? And it just complicates things so much. So now it's just one. It's just like, hey, are you free on this date like we did? Perfect. Lock it in, done. And we're on. So, but despite our technical issues that we've had all night. But
yeah, that's it. I agree with you there. But I think it's the same in hunting as well. Like I look at it and say, oh, well, sometimes it's just easier to go solo. There's less, although it's not as fun sometimes. But it's not. I find there's a little less drama. You make the mistakes again, you cop it, but the rewards are bigger too. Like you shoot the animal and you've done the hard yards, you've done it all yourself, and you sit back at the end of the day and go, well, hold on, I've done that. That's all me. No one helped. There's highs and lows to being by yourself in this kind of industry, or what I do anyway, I suppose, and what you do as well. There's highs and lows to it, and I think there is benefit by going out on your own, and say, okay, well, you celebrate at the end of it, and it's kind of like cooking a good meal too. You get out there and you celebrate it. So if you got the missus to help you cook it, well, then she's going to share the reward. So, look, I cook that was my meal. I cook that. So, mate,
on cooking, I've said before, you've inspired me, and I love watching your videos and everything you're doing. So went a bit crazy tonight and had the pellet grill going, and we did a lobster and prawn bisque as an entree, and then into some wood fire pizzas in the pellet grill with the smoker cracking and on the stones. Geez, they were good. Some seafood and then some meat ones. And man, I really get why you love doing what you're doing. Like, cooking is so much fun. And then the reward at the end when you get a good meal and you sit there and compare it. The one thing, and I've been dying to ask you this, do you go out often to restaurants, and do you get let down if you do?
Good question. I do. I'm a foodie anyway, so I do go. Sometimes I like to have people cook for myself. Yeah, I do. I do go out to restaurants, and they inspire me too. So I'll find a good restaurant, I'll find a dish there, and something a little bit different. I'll think, oh, that's really nice. I do get let down a lot at restaurants, but when you say that, a lot of mine are quick and easy. I look for the quick and easy pub meals and things like that. I'm not a big eater when it comes to that. I'd rather sit and have a few beers and some light snacks with friends and talk, but I'm not going to sit down and have massive meals. But saying that, I do get let down a little bit by some of the meals, and I think, oh, well, I should have just stayed home and cooked. I could have done a heaps better job than this. But yeah, I do find inspiration on some, I think I find more inspiration in fine dining and quality meals. Like I go out and just the way the dish is presented too, because as you may know, you see on my cookbooks and even on my some of my Instagram stuff or my Facebook stuff, I like to present the meal so it looks kind of nice, because you eat 99% of the time you eat with your eyes anyway. And I just like the presentation of it. So, take the time to set it out and present it. And you can only really get that at some nice restaurants. So in that sense, no problem, but you're not going to get good presentation down the local pub or something like that. So
no, not at all.
Yeah, yeah.
Mate, it is so much fun. And I mean, I haven't had a kettle barbecue for such a long time, and I just really missed cooking with charcoal. So I've just went out and grabbed one again, and it's been so good to have that. And just running, I did a whole chook the other week, and what was it, a Moroccan sauce, and oh geez, it just turned out sensational. And I love cooking in just a multitude of different ways, and the challenges they all bring. What's yours?
Well, it's changed a lot since, when I was growing up I was going to show my age now, but back in the 80s and stuff, the old man had half a 44-gallon drum with some wood under it and a flat plate on top, and you had some burnt chops and a steak and sausages, and that was it, pretty much. That's your barbecue. Now there's such things as smokers and pellet grills and that traditional, or I suppose the American way of cooking where, they lots of low and slow barbecue style, and I've got into the world of barbecue competitions too. So, I had friends doing it, and I turned up to some comps and had a look at the way they do things and put sauces and rubs. I'd never heard of a rub ever in my life, mate. A rub was a can of export just being thrown over the top of the steak, and the old man was there. There's no such thing. And, salt and pepper or something, and they've got rubs for everything. And funny you say that. I'm sitting here, right? I've got a rub sitting right here because I need to reorder a honey chipotle rub, and I use it for everything. And on game, you find a really good rub, and it goes well with game meat, so you start using that sort of thing. But yeah, I don't know. We've gone down rabbit holes here, but
it's probably going to be one of those nights.
Yeah, my favourite way of cooking. I get a lot of enjoyment out of the low and slow style cooking, even in a slow cooker as well, pot and stews, because game meat turns out well with that. It's guaranteed tenderness.
Yep.
You cook it nice and slow till it falls off the bone, and it's going to be tender. So just recently, it's been 12 months now, a partner's come into my life, and she's right into the slow cooking. Obviously, with kids, and you put something in the slow cooker, go to work, come back, and it's cooked. So a lot of my game meat, it goes in the slow cooker. We do a lot of stews and soups and different styles of slow cooking. She's really good at it too. She's a great cook, and she's just adapted cooking styles and changed it to game meat. So she loves the challenge, and so both of us really get right into that sort of long baking styles, and the smoker gets a good run at it because I often use a smoker for sausages and my salamis and stuff. But I suppose to say my favourite would be a slow cooker pot, that style. I very rarely do anything fast on the barbecue. A lot of my seafood gets done on the barbecue pretty fast. But my variety of dishes, I change all the time. There's no one set thing that I'll cook. Each different species gets cooked different ways. Rabbits, I'm always looking at either frying them or in the slow cooker in stews and casserole sort of style. Some of the buffalo and the camel, some of those are steaks and mince. Cabanas and sausages, they get done in the smoker. Might barbecue some steaks, venison steaks, barbecue it, or mince made into sausages and salami. So it changes all the time, my style of cooking. So I can't really say I've got a favourite in that sense.
All right, so we'll jump into the camels in a sec, but one of the things when you're talking about rubs, I have found one of my favourite rubs is Suckle Busters. They're a US one, and their chicken rub is my absolute go-to when I just get wings and just coat it both sides in that, and it just in the smoker. Oh my God, that's good. and it's just the go-to now. I actually ran out tonight because I did make chicken wings as well with the pizzas, and I was like, all right, I don't like running out because I've just found those couple of rubs. And, geez, they're good. But there is so much to it. I don't know if you've got Netflix, but there's 2 seasons of it. It's like the barbecue showdown where they're just using all different types of smokers and all that. And even one of the challenge was they had to use, like, as you said, the old man had the barrel and just putting a plate over the top and using that. And they do all things like that. And geez, it turns out good. And I found for me, because I've got the little ones, the pellet grill is just so bloody convenient. I can go up there, turn it on, set and forget, and it just does everything for me. And, I've really loved doing a brisket up there, cooking it for 12, 16 hours and not having to worry about temps and things like that. Just so damn easy. And the finished product turns out so good.
I love my sausages in the pellet grill. Absolutely amazing. And they get that little bit of a crispy skin on them. And I took some wild pork sausages to work and just laid them and I thought they were pretty average, but when I laid them in the pellet grill and did them, they were just amazing. And the pellet grill just changed. It gives it that little smoky flavour to it. And I think they had a chili mango and wild pork flavour to it.
Nice.
And they were incredible. The guys at work loved them, absolutely. And it was like, you'd swear I'd been to the shop and bought them, and they're like, "Oh, where'd you buy these from?" I said, "Oh, I made them myself." And they couldn't get over it. These wild pork sausages, and the pellet grill was just so easy to do. As you said, you set and forget. You just put it on, and come back, and they're all done. They're great.
Yeah,
kind of takes the guesswork out of it, really.
Well, between that and the thermostats now too, your little probes that you can just throw in. I've got like the Inkbird Pro that it comes with 4 different probes. Throw them in, and it can give you all the points that you need to. So I always know if there's a brisket a little bit higher and a little bit lower. I know where it's at individually, and geez, it just makes it easier to do it well. And I'm not the greatest chef in the world by any stretch of the imagination, but I just found all these little things really give you a little bit of an upper hand at making sure things don't go wrong, or you're not overcooking or undercooking and things like that. So that's always, geez, it's been fun.
I suppose it's like the Thermomix, isn't it?
Oh,
It's just gadgets. These advanced gadgets and I suppose it comes down to everything these days. Everything's advancing, where it be our style of hunting, like thermal scopes these days. I'm starting to get into the thermal stuff and spotting scope, just all that sort of stuff. Technology in hunting is changing, cooking, and it's cool. It is cool, but I don't know. I like the old school stuff as well. Some of the older stuff, and it just doesn't. When you got to rely on it, just doesn't break. That's the good thing about it.
Well, I think tech is one of those things that when it works, it's brilliant. And when it doesn't, like we found out tonight, it's a pain in the ass. But there's just so much good stuff out there. Even hunting-wise, I talked to a bloke called Shots and Shadows on Instagram. Check it out if you haven't. But he tests out gear and gives it a bit of a review. And he had up a set of stabilizing binos. So they've got basically like a digital system in them. So even if you're shaking away and you've had a big night on the cans and you're out early morning going for a hunt, a bit hungover, it can keep it nice and still for you. That to me is just amazing. Like stuff like that, it's crazy how good things are getting. And as you said before, the thermal stuff and that's just insane at the moment. I'm just about to jump into the world of it and get my first thermal monocular. So I'm hanging out to get that because it's just a different level.
We had we kind of finished up doing it at the moment, but we went through a lot of our thermal stuff and monoculars and with Infraray and Hikmicro and Hunt the Night and stuff. And some of the scopes we put on a recording as soon as you hit the trigger, and they'll record just before it as well, so you can go back and built-in rangefinders and that sort of stuff. And it blows my mind because I've got no idea on how to use it. So the technology is absolutely incredible, but it kind of takes it out of it a little bit. It gives it another dimension. It's something I haven't done. I suppose the older you get when you're hunting, you're kind of more amazed by it because you don't see that sort of. It takes the hunt out of the hunting, if you know what I mean. But younger generation, younger kids thrive on it. That they love it, and that sort of they start doing then longer shots and more confident in their shooting. So I don't know. I suppose it's a good thing in that sense, and it's a good thing, being able to identify the target as well. If it makes it safer, then why not? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, especially that the thermal stuff of a night. I agree there that plus your infrared night vision now, and that you've got all the tools at your sort of disposal to ensure that you're as safe as possible out there when shooting of a night, just compared to, throwing up a spotlight, seeing some eye shine and thinking whatever it might be now. Geez, they can really pick out some things from a long distance, and you can, the better quality ones as well, you can really know what you're definitely looking at before they know you're there, and from a long way away. Like some of the ranges now, I just cannot believe how far you can identify a target from.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and it's good in that sense. If it promotes a safety aspect into the hunting, then we need all help we can get. And I'm not going to lie about it. I'm not going to bullshit anyone, but hunting is one of those sports that are going, and yourself, it's going down the tube real quick. So if anything can make it safer and better and promote it a little bit better, I'm all for it. I'm there.
Yeah, no, 100%. I had Danny from Field and Game, the chair of Field and Game, on the other day talking about what's gone on with the duck season down there, and the next target's been bloody bow hunting and then fishing, and it's crazy to think what's going on, and we all need to be doing our part to try and stop this, and if we want to keep doing what we're doing, because it'll be such a travesty if things go south. And it's pretty crazy when you think about some of the decisions being made and what's going on. And yeah, I don't know. I'm even, just the best practice when they talk about recreational hunters versus contract shooters, and you're seeing what's going on in South Australia with, deer getting shot with shotguns so that they can't run off, and from helicopters, and there's a million bloody things. So it's pretty crazy at the moment. But mate, on a positive things, the camels. Tell me, every time you post about that, I just sit there and go, man, that looks cool. And I've got to know, how long does it take to harvest all the meat? Like, that's a serious bloody animal.
We couldn't harvest all of it. Technically the temperatures, the terrain, that sort of thing. It's an animal that needed to be culled, but it's we took as much meat. We come over with about 200 kilos of meat for 6 people. Trying to keep that cold is a mission in any standard. So I'm going again on another hunt next week, and I've got the same problem. I'm taking a 100-kilo esky, 100-litre esky. So, and I'm taking another 80-litre esky with that. But we've decided to hire a fridge trailer. So the 6 of us going, we're just going to tow a fridge trailer down and pay somebody who's taken one of their cars just to follow us down and with the fridge trailer. So for an extra $100 each, if we get something, we hope to get some deer, but it guarantees that we're going to have that meat's going to be in great condition. So it's kind of worth it in that sense. But I'm also taking, fridge freezers. And when you're going up north in station country like that, and you're harvesting that many camels, there was a little bit of a process that we went through that kind of keeps the meat cold, with the freezing down ice blocks, and then you put your ice blocks into the esky with the meat, and we hung it overnight anyway, and cooled it right down. It was pretty cool in the middle of the night. Chopped it up and put it in the esky, and then frozen blocks on top of it, and that kept it pretty cool. As long as you don't open that esky lid, it's not too bad. But logistically, it's pretty hard. We're out there for a week, and it's a constant thought process of, okay, is that meat going to be okay? It makes it easier if you shoot them in the last couple of days than shoot them in the first couple of days. And, if we'd shot a lot of them, if we'd shot the majority on the first few days, we would have turned around and headed home, because you're done and dusted. But they're good fun. They really, really are good fun to shoot. Or I say good fun, it was a job, but yeah, it's good being able to get them on the ground and start cutting them up and get some meat off it, and some beautiful cuts of meat too. Yeah, lovely.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. The old fridge cool room sort of trailer, and it just takes a little bit of the pressure off because it's funny. I've spoken. There's some all different ways to do it with the meat, and I've seen people that use sort of those fishing bags that are sort of collapsible but turn into a bit of an esky where you fill them with ice and they're designed for fish, but you can do it with meat, obviously. I've got a Yeti 155, and it's a big bugger, but geez, it keeps it cold. So when the ice is in there, it does a really good job compared to other eskies that I've had, other brands. I can chuck that in there, 10 litre. I get the 10 litre water blocks, like the disposable ones you get from Coles. Let a bit out, freeze them, and I find I can keep them for 7+ days as long as you're not going to it, opening it all the time. And that's a win. But I think I haven't got it as bad as you, because over here in the eastern seaboard, we're not facing the temperatures that you are over there in WA. How concerned are you when if you shoot something on the first day and you're there for a week? How concerned are you with that meat? And has there been times you've got back and you're like, oh, this is a pretty flip of the coin here?
Good question. I touch wood, actually haven't had that happen to me, because I am concerned about it. That's a constant thought process for me, is being able to get meat home, get it in the esky. So I well and truly come prepared. I've got probably 20 pillow slips that I take, and meat hooks and chain to go between trees, and I look for shaded trees, and even pack all the meat up into pillow slips, hang it all up during the day. Or overnight anyway, and kind of get it as cool as I can, and then back into the eskies and, bleed it all out, and then back into the eskies and cool it down. So as I said, if we were to shoot those camels in the first few days, it would have been trip over, but we took a week and it worked out okay. We were kind of midweek to end of the week, we shot them, and it worked out all right. You just cut it, you take the big primal cuts and cut them all down, and some quality, good bits of meat. And as long as you look after, as long as you keep that esky needs to be closed, and it needs to stay in the shade. And everyone knows you don't open that. So that's the way it is.
Have you ever used dry ice?
No, I haven't. I have seen it used, but no, I haven't used dry ice. No. Only for the fact, like dry ice, I think it'd have to go with another ice, wouldn't it? Don't you usually put it with a?
I have no idea, but I've seen some shows over in the States where that's what they recommend, is just running dry ice down the bottom, and then they throw like a cake rack over the top, and then it just does the job the whole time, and you don't get the water byproduct apparently. But I've never done it, so it was just something I was curious maybe that someone else had tested out.
Because all my, most of my blocks, we just turn the fridges to freezer. So all your food comes out of your angles or whatever, your portable freezers. You turn your fridges to freezers like a dual zone. So you put all your beers and everything in a little esky, a bit of ice on top of that. And 3 litre water bottles get frozen down into solid blocks, and then you just transfer them. If you got 6 of them on the go, so 3 in the freezer at the same time, and then 3 into the meat, and then change them on a daily, just rotate them around on a daily thing. And your fridges or your freezer's always working, so it freezes your blocks, and then just transfer it over, and it kind of works all right in that sense. Yeah, keeps it nice and cool.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I was out one time, shout out to Tristan, he actually broke the deer down and he vac sealed everything up on the spot and just separated all the meat, put it in the vac sealer, had a little 12-volt sort of plug into the car, had that like the adapter so he could run his vac sealer. Just so easy and convenient, and you could throw it in the esky, not worry about water, not worry about anything like that, not worry about air on it. It's something that I sort of went, I think that's a really good way to do if you weren't going to go down the way of a like the cool room trailer. But geez, they look good. I've been keeping my eye on sort of those, because if you ever went out to like a coal property and you're going to, pretty likely to get a few animals, it's definitely worth the, $100-$120 a day. And, it's going to just make life so much easier.
Yeah. The only thing is I don't like, I've got exactly the same system with the the cryovac machine, and you can put it in, cigarette lighter, and it cryovacs quite well. I agree with it. It's pretty good, but the bag size is a little bit limited in when it comes to big meat like Camel. So you're using a lot of bag, you cryovac it, then you get home and want some of that cut into steaks. You got to undo the cryovac, cut it into steaks, re-cryovac it, or you want mince. So then you've got to take it out, put it all through the mincer, and then re-cryovac separate bags. So you waste a lot of bags in that sense, and the bags can become fairly expensive. So I've used in heavy duty they're a mining style bag, so that just heavy duty plastic, and we wrap them in that, and then throw them in the ice and in the eskies in that. So that kind of works for us. The blood stays out of the eskies, so that works really well for me anyway, and that's how I do it. The cryovac, I've seen, people waste a hell of a lot of money on cryovac, and once it's all cryovac, and you get it home, you think, oh, I should have chopped that into sections, and you don't spend your whole hunting trip cryovacking. It takes up a hell of a long time too, just to trim it all and get all the meat right. There was a lot of time just butchering big animals and big chunks of meat that still had fat on them that we had to trim, and a bit of sinew, we wanted to trim that off as well, so we trimmed that off and put it in the bag. Or when you get it home, it's much more, I suppose, hygienic, and you've got a nice hygienic place in the kitchen, somewhere nice and clean and neat. It saves doing it on a plastic table out in the middle of the bush. It still flies on the meat or whatever it may be, So that's how I do it.
When you're running so the camels, right? Let's talk about them. Breaking it down, what were the meat, like what sort of cuts and things were you taking? Because I'm guessing a leg is firstly bloody heavy, so you're not probably quartering it down and things like that as, just purely size and weight for one person to handle. So you're boning it out, would you be?
Yeah, we boned. So we sit them up on their haunches. So kind of they look like they're resting a little bit, but they're not that hard to handle. They're one or two people can turn them, and you can turn them around if you know what you're doing. They're not too bad. The boys are fairly new at it. The guys that I took along were. That some had some experience, but there was quite a few that hadn't had experience. Out of the 6 of us, I suppose there was 3 that had a little bit of experience, and there was 3 that just did not know anything about it. But I took the knives. I said, right, I'm going to give you a lesson on how to do it, and basically cut the hump off. Once that hump's off, it looks like a cow. So, for me, there was a few cuts that I knew I wanted anyway, things I want to do. And one of them was some T-bones. I wanted a rib rack out of it. I wanted some ribs, so I wanted to do a heap of camel ribs. I also wanted a shank, so I wanted to do a camel shank as well in the smoker. Previously on a camel trip, I wanted the neck, so I chopped the whole camel neck off with a saw, and I've got into this. I've got a little Milwaukee recip saw with a food grade blade on it, and it just makes it so easy. And I should have had it years ago. That just has revolutionized the way I feel just now, and it goes everywhere with me. And if I want something off that animal, it's coming off, no matter what. And even breaking deer down straight away, straight down the backbone, all the animals now are just getting chopped up. It's great. And my last video I did on Facebook, I had a frozen pork leg and I wanted some pork chops. So I just grabbed the recip saw and put it on the butcher's block and started chopping pieces off. It was great. It was fantastic. A frozen block, it's just going straight through it. So back to the camel. The hump comes off, and that's basically a fat lump on it, a fatty lump. And under that, the back straps, and then I took some ribs out of it, got the tenderloins out of there as well. So I took both tenderloins, and they're fairly substantial because they're big animals. And then started on the back leg, so we got some back leg meat off it. And there's like a triangle of meat in it as well. It's probably about 20 centimeters sort of triangle, and it's nice and tender in between the leg. And I'm not too sure what it's called when it comes to camel, but it's absolutely beautiful. So we took a few of them as well. The bigger bull camels we had to leave. Obviously, they were pretty stinky and pretty disgusting, but most of them got chopped up, and the little ones got chopped up, and fantastic.
Yeah, it's on my list of things because I've had camel before, and I'm a massive fan of the flavour. and same as buffalo, all that. I really enjoy the flavour, so it's on the list for me to get up somewhere and shoot and bring back the meat, because it's A, there's a lot of it, and B, the flavour's just fantastic. What have you turned that into?
I've cooked it quite a lot, mate. I have. I think the most recent was I did like a stir fry with like a souvlaki. So had it. I think you'd call it a souvlaki. You'd be familiar with it. So we had it in wraps and stuff. So that was pretty good. I've cooked ribs. We've done pies with it. I'd have to go back through my Facebook and have a look at all the stuff that I've done with it, mate. Made a heap of sausages with it, and really, all sorts of stuff. I really, really have utilised as much of the meat as I could, so it's been good.
How'd you go with the ribs? Because they'd be a big piece of obviously you'd have to split them in half. How did they dry out? Did you put a rub or mop them, or how'd you go with that?
They were in chunks. So the first ones I've done, or the ones I've done just recently, I did it in the slow cooker, and they turned out really nice. I did it in like a tomato sauce or a chili, or I think it was chili camel ribs, with a chili sauce around it, and they turned out really, really nice. I've not the whole rib, because the whole rib wouldn't fit in a slow cooker, so I've actually cut one rib in half. So you get one rib and just cut it in half, and half a rib really is good for a meal for one person. So, 2 or 3 ribs into a bag is enough for a family. So, or 2 of us anyway, sitting down to eat. You got 2 camel ribs, you're laughing, or 1 camel rib, yeah.
Well, when you consider it like cow, when you get beef ribs and beef short ribs, 2 of them for a person's a big feed. And then, if you think about a camel, they're a lot bigger than a steer or a cow. So you're sitting there going, oh, yep, that's fair enough.
Yeah. I've did it in, there's so many recipes that I've done with it. And I actually get to a point where I'll cook a lot of it when I come back straight after the trip. And I think somebody's got to be getting sick of watching camel videos these days. Like everything that I cook is in camel. I think I went on for probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, and we were eating camel all the time. So I've given it a rest and mixed it up a little bit now. So I'm back into just recently some wild pork and a little bit of venison. So yeah, you got to kind of change it up a bit.
I was going to say, do you find that's one of the things is when you load up on, say, a camel or whatever, do you get sick of eating it? Because I do put my hand up for that and say, I love red meat, but I'll get to the stage where I'm just craving fish. Give me 4 days straight of red meat, and I'm like, I need some seafood. Yeah. Do you find that?
Yeah, I do. You're right. However, just on the kitchen bench behind me, there's 4 crayfish sitting up there. So I'm going to do something with crayfish either, I don't know, tonight, or I know I'm going to make a crayfish cob loaf for tomorrow. So, I get like that. Myself and my partner both get like that. We'll go through a thing of eating. But the good thing about it is, we can change it up with maybe casseroles or some sausages or something like that, although it'd still be red meat, and you ate a salad to it. Or, I do my own hams as well. So, you might be eating ham or a quiche, and it's a variety of meals and variety as much as I can. You change it about a little bit. Even, you might throw some rabbit in the mix, and, you might get a couple of rabbits. So you'll eat rabbit for a couple of days and go back onto eating a bit of venison, or you might go back onto, making some pies or a curry or something. So it gets changed quite often, a variety. But it's all game meat. So, most of the time, it's 99.9% of the time it's game meat, yeah.
Mate, the camel, geez, it's been good. But, mate, you've done some pretty cool other stuff lately. What other hunting journeys or adventures have you been on?
A couple of little deer locally. So just getting into some fallow deer, and after some reds at the moment. So that's a little bit further away from home. So that's going to happen next week. Also some club hunts. I'm a member of quite a few clubs, and that's starting to take off. Also, West Australian Firearms Community Alliance. I've joined that. So accumulation of all the shooting groups and shooters in WA have come together just to galvanise us into one actual banner and have one person leading us instead of having, going to every time there's a complaint on TV or there's something, all those different shooting groups that organise meetings and all go to. Instead of that, we've just got one person saying, rightio, we've all decided this is what we want to do. This is how it's going to go. And the same, I think the same as that, most of the gun shops are on board with it. The sporting shooters are also on board with it as well. So, all of it, the farmers all come under one banner, and hopefully it'll stick together like that. And it's more of the fact that we're all starting to kind of band together. We're getting a hell of a lot of grief over here in that shooting world. So as we just previously mentioned. So that's kind of, I'm doing a little bit with that. I'm trying to stay focused with that as well. Always looking at doing new things through Facebook and through Instagram. And as I said, I just also mentioned that I've just met a lovely lady who's one of my mate's daughters, actually. So I went hunting with him, and I don't know, it just kind of fell into place. And so she's really interested in hunting and the cooking side of things. So I'm just trying to get her involved in it a little bit as well. So gun license, and she's really keen on archery. So get her stuck into that, and kind of just pursuing a relationship, I suppose. And she's, as I said, she really loves the cooking. So it's more of the, I suppose, the cooking styles. Her cooking styles have really changed changed me as a person as well. So she's more of, the 10-minute meals, how quick we can make a meal out of game meat. So I'd do a lot of preparation and try and make it look nice and stuff. But she's more of, let's see if we can, the 10-minute game meal sort of thing. So I'll feature that in the next few weeks on my Facebook page, and just showing how people, you can use game meat quick, like a quick meal after work sort of thing. You don't have to mess around with it. You don't have to, it doesn't have to stay in the freezer for special occasions sort of thing. So that sort of stuff, just getting right into that. And a bit of, I suppose, going down the avenue of professional shooting as well. So getting paid to, do animal culls and that sort of thing. So I'm trying to kind of lean into that, and a bit of vermin management or pest management. So been doing a few courses lately, and so that's where I'm heading in that sense.
Pretty busy, man, and that sounds really good, because I think there's a real opportunity out there. I know for me, in my change of life, having kids, like it's been one of the best things that's ever happened to me. But I've also noticed the time restrictions that now take place. So there is a real requirement, like a 10-minute meal is such a attractive prospect to be able to just get home, have it, bang, dinner's ready. Because you just don't have, I find I don't have the time to do an hour and a half session of cooking, because the little ones are starving, and you got to manage them as you cook as well. So it's something that you really want, like, simplified. So it's good to hear that. So hopefully we might see even a cookbook, mate. A cookbook with the 10-minute side as opposed to the other. I think the last time we spoke, you were working on another one. Is that
third? Yeah. And I was just about to mention it, mate. My third cookbook, and it's still a work in. I say it's still a work in progress. It's there. It's sitting on my computer. It's me. Not really. The money's not an option. I've got the money. I've got the supporters. Do people want it? Like COVID kind of put a dent in what I do. Although my online followers kind of grew, but my stage, I haven't been on stage now for years. So, all my traveling, that kind of stopped. And that was what I liked. That was a passion of mine, to promote my cookbook and cook on stage and show people how to do it, like hands-on. Would I still have that passion now? Do I bring out a third cookbook and still, the traveling's over? So I don't know if it'd really go well. My first and second cookbook sold out. It was just it went gangbusters, mate. It was huge. And I just don't think it'd have the impact and the punch about it at the moment. So I've kind of hold off on it until maybe I get back on the road, back on stage. There was thoughts of me coming over east this year, and even that got canned. That got canned 2 or 3 times. So, that's stopped doing that. So yeah, we'll see. Look, it's there. It's in. Maybe my kids will bring it out when I'm dead or something. They might the last hurrah cookbook or something. I don't know. I really don't know, mate. But it's sitting there. The idea of the 10-minute meal. It kind of excites me. Like little things like that. I've done. What did I do last time? The Sausage Chronicles. And see how many different types of sausages I can make out of different game meats, and I did hundreds of them, and kept doing it every Friday on Facebook. And then I think I did something else. I did another chronicle of something different. I'll pick something, I'll just run with it for a while, and it was getting really good. I was just enjoying it. That sort of thing. I get little bugs. I get passionate about something, and I'll just go flat out and do it the best I can, and do it a million different ways, and kind of debunk it for people. And I get so many questions. It's good fun. I enjoy that. And now I've got a partner, and she's come along and said, "Oh, let's do. What about we do 10-minute meals?" I said, "Well, what about you go on Facebook? I'll film you instead. It'd be fantastic." And she shied away from that. Said, "No, bugger that. I enjoy my live videos and stuff, and I just have some fun with people and a few beers and just relax and talk some shit. And it's pretty good, mate." So, but she, when she come along and said, "Oh, the 10-minute meals," it kind of a light bulb lit up. Somebody else is interested in game meat, and that's what I do. That's where the passion is. I want to make people enjoy this sort of thing. I want to see enjoyment out of it. And then all of a sudden, she wants a gun and said, "This is fantastic." She sees me shooting and enjoying myself, and says, "Right, I want to get into it. I want to be involved in this. This is pretty cool." So, yeah, that's you never know. It might be the 10-minute meal cookbook. Might be a thing.
Might be in the pipeline. I'm with you there. Sometimes it's really hard to keep motivated. Like, it does take up a lot of time, and you sometimes feel it can get a bit repetitive. So trying to think of new things or what to chat about or the like, especially cooking, you don't want to be doing the same recipes over and over. And I think that's been one thing I've enjoyed with your stuff, is that it doesn't feel like it's repetitive, which is a credit, because you do a lot, and you're on there a lot, putting things out a lot with your, especially on your socials and the like. I found, for me, and I don't know, I'd love to hear your thoughts, because you've been doing it a hell of a lot longer than I have. I really get a kick when someone sends us a message and just says thank you. And that support from people I don't know that have, just taken the time to reach out, and that just goes, it can really turn around when you're thinking, oh, geez, it's a lot of time away from the family, or it's a lot of time away from this. That really just spurs you on. Have you found that? Do you find that's a bit of a motivator for you? Because, as you said, the traveling now has stopped, and that's sort of hurt you a bit.
Yep, absolutely, 100%, 100%. I get a lot of my messages on socials start off with, "Hey, mate, love what you do," and I'm like, wow, another. It's not. It used to be, you're a bastard. You go on and kill these animals. I want to kill your whole family. It's not like that. That's all gone and settled down, and all the hate's kind of come and gone. They always come and go. But the loyal, good people have stuck around, and it's pretty cool. I've had, all my messages are just unbelievable, and they are really, really motivating. But I won't fob it off and not answer people. Like, people have, mate, 2:00 in the morning, woken up. This guy wanted to know how long to put the wild pork roast on for, because the game was up today, and he got up early in the morning. So I'm West Australian time. He was in the Eastern States. I think it was the NRL was on or something or other. He's messaged me. I think he rang me, actually. He rang me, and it was like 2:00 in the morning my time. So, because we're 3 hours behind. And he got up early to put the wild pork roast on, and just didn't want to wreck it for the boys that were coming around. They wanted wild pork roast rolls or something with gravy, And, mate, I said, "Oh, dude," and I'm telling him, and that he goes, "Oh, sorry, it was a bit early." I said, "Yeah, 2:00 in the morning's a bit early." He's like, "Oh, God, I didn't know that. Where are you?" And I told him, and that, and he's like, "Are you kidding me? You answered the phone." I said, "Yeah, because I'm passionate about what I do, mate. I just want to see you succeed. And then you'll tell your mate, and then you'll tell his mate, and then you'll look at me on Facebook, and that's what I do. I'm giving to people, and that's what I like. And he goes, "Oh man, that's unreal. Thanks for that." But it's little things like that. I'll go out of my way to help people, and they'll be messaging me backwards and forwards about what to look for in an animal, or is this okay? Sending me messages and that, and I can't not stop and not help people. I love it. Even to the fact that people have like stopped me in the street. Oh, mate, I know you. And then their missus standing next to them and go, "Oh, yeah, is this the bloke you keep watching in the middle of the night? You wake up and watch him on Facebook. Oh, get a photo of the bugger, like this." And I have a laugh, but that sort of thing inspires me to help people out. I'm not trying to blow my own horn, but just showing people what to do, because then if you think about it, the echo effect, that wave effect affects. They learn something from me about cooking, and then they go and show their mates. Then their mates get interested and buy guns. Then the shooting industry becomes larger and bigger, and then they tell their workmates as well about, "Oh, I watched this guy on Facebook, or he might have helped me out or whatever. And then I went and shot a pig, and then I cooked it like this. Here, taste this," and that's ingrained in them. That's instilled in them because they've tasted the flavour. It's another sense. They've got it, and they go, "Oh wow!" And then they think, "Oh, mate, that's awesome. That's fantastic." I'll tell my next door, "I tried some wild pig today. Our mate shoots it and that, and I'm getting into hunting." And the whole industry starts becoming bigger, and it normalizes hunting, and it becomes acceptable, And then when people are trying to take your guns away from you or trying to ban things, they think, "Oh, hold on a minute, I'm putting my hand up to ban something, but that's affected my mate at work. So why, he's all right, he's a good bloke, so why should I be doing that?" Or, "Oh, my dad used to do that." It kind of has that ripple effect. It goes throughout the whole community, just that little bit of help and that little bit of understanding, showing people,
Could not agree more, because one of the things I keep saying is I think one of the really key things that we need to do as hunters is use food as the vessel. And yes, everybody eats, right? And if you are talking about the process and talking about how humane it is, and I sort of had to have a giggle because, I've spoken to a range of people all the time, and not hunters, and people that are anti-hunting, people that are not even interested in, eating meat. And the one thing I think everything has in common is they don't understand hunters actually care about the animals, and they care about the well-being. And it's quite funny seeing what's going on in SA, where you've got backlash over here down in Victoria about duck hunting and wounding animals, etc. But then over in South Australia, you've got it where the preferred method to shoot deer is from a shotgun and a helicopter. And you're like, hold on, wait a minute. So we're blowing up and we're going to ban hunting because it's cruel, and so people can't get a feed of ducks. And I think I had Danny on, as I mentioned before, and he was saying there was something like 15 birds were wounded over 5 years or something ridiculously small like that. And yet it's best practice to cull them from a helicopter with a shotgun, and that's been advised by the South Australian government. And there's also, I think it could be Curtin University or Monash University did the study on that's the best practice. And it doesn't make sense. But people are okay with them culling deer because it's the government saying it. But then as the hunter, it sort of it's frowned upon. It just doesn't make sense to me from that. And I think that's that disconnection that we need to sort of be addressing and working towards reducing and making sure that people understand. And the best way is food, because we all eat. And if you're talking about cooking up good food, telling the story behind it. I have never sat down and talked to anybody about where my steak came from, because I don't know, because I'm not the one that's getting it direct from the farmer or cutting it up. I'm buying it from a butcher. It might say, "Oh yeah, this meat came from that butcher," but there's not a story to it. Whereas, if you're in the position where you can get the animals, and I've done it with rabbit and things before, where I shot it over here and it was only this far away and brought it over, and this is the process I went through. It opens that dialogue, and it becomes a meaningful thing more than just, they shot the animal. And they like that, and I think that needs to happen. You said you had a bit of hate and things coming about shooting animals when you first started up. How did you take that? Because it can't be a nice thing. I've been very lucky. I've never sort of had that at all. How did you go about that? Was there times, especially when there's, I've seen so many threats towards families and heard about all these things.
I I what it was pretty close to Christmas. Would have been probably 15 years ago now. It was very close to Christmas actually, because I knew I was on site. I was working away, and it was Christmas Day. And the previous week, I'd put a post up of I'd shot a donkey. It was up in the Pilbara region, Western Australia. We just went up there on a shooting trip, and we had to cull some donkeys around windmills on a station. And I had a photo, put it on my page, just shot a donkey. But I brought the donkey home and put it in the smoker and smoked it with some rosemary around it. It was really nice, actually. And made sausages, donkey sausages. I think I even made some salamis or like a mortadella with it as well, because traditionally mortadella is made from donkey. Anyway, went well, and I put this post up, and it was something like Uncaged Animals Worldwide got hold of it, and these guys are just extreme greenies, like not extreme greenies, like extreme. I think it's like vegans or something. I'm not too sure. And they got hold of it, and at that stage, I had an open page on my Facebook, and they absolutely destroyed me. There was over like 3,000 personal messages sent to me of hate, wanting to kill me if I'd ever gone to France, and some, I had more French people messaging me than, and then there was a thing on Facebook. They'd start a petition at the local police station to have me arrested for shooting a donkey. And like, these people are just so out of touch with where food actually comes from, and even in Australia, the damage that donkeys cause. People watch too many movies, and it sensationalizes, how cute the animal is and so forth. But back to the conversation, when you say, and people say to me, "Oh, how can you eat that?" Or "How can you chop it up and kill it?" It's more of the fact that I understand the whole process from where the animal was feeding right up until how the animal fed me, from start to finish. I've not given anyone else the responsibility of feeding me other than myself. And they look at it in a different light and different perspective like that, and say, well, okay, that's a fair call. You've gone if that animal tastes like shit, it's my fault. If that, and I try to utilize as much as I can of the animal. And the reason, if it tastes like crap or it's no good, that's completely up to me. I haven't given that responsibility and the understanding of that to anyone else. There's no butcher shop's just going to hand it over the counter and he doesn't feel guilty about it or whatever it may be. Or I've done the whole process, the whole thing. It's my responsibility. And I said, I'm happy with you to give other people the responsibility of killing animals if you can't do it, but don't judge me because I do the whole thing myself. And they've said, oh, well, fair enough. Okay. So, there is ways of combating haters, but usually they're fairly, I don't know, there's a lot of people that are jealous. They just can't do what I do. I don't know. They haven't got the skills and they just haven't got the knowledge to do what hunters can do. And I take my hat off to hunters. It's great. It's good to see.
It's always astounded me a lot. We celebrate, everything going on at the moment. We celebrate the Aboriginal culture, and I'm all for that, of course. But when we look at, traditional hunting methods, and then we don't accept hunting, like a lot of these people out there that don't accept hunting are probably going to be the first people that, have respect for the Aboriginal culture, which I love. Don't get me wrong. And I don't understand why it's different that we can talk about Aboriginal culture and hunting in one breath and say that that's traditional, but then hunting, if you're not Aboriginal in this country, is not as traditional, when it's a part of everybody. And that has always astounded me, that we, for whatever reason, the broad community can't see that hunting, if there wasn't for hunting, none of us would probably be here. It's had such a significant impact on human evolution. It's not funny. I don't understand. I'm watching Netflix at the moment. There's a great new documentary called Predator, And I love it. I love watching nature and I love seeing all that. And I just sit there and go, well, why isn't a hunter in there as a predator? We are a predator in the ecosystem, but everything we see on TV removes us from that. It's always just doesn't sit right with me.
I think it's been normalised because of the media and because of social media in the past few years, but definitely because of the media that normalisation and where, you know, to get food, you have to go to a shop and your steak's going to come out in wrapped in cellophane. And that for people is normal. And that's our Western culture now, Western world. If you hung, you know, I go past some of the Oriental shops, and they've got the meat hanging up in the front window, the ducks and so forth, and people are like, oh, you know, that's a bit weird, isn't it? That's sick or whatever. It's not. That's how it's done. Who would have thought? And you know, this is a prime example of it. Who would have thought we'd be drinking bottled water?
Oh.
You know, never ever did I think you'd drink water out of a bottle. It was the best. It was going to come out of a tap. That was the best you get. Yeah, half the time it was out of a dam or a bucket or something. You know, when I was growing up as a kid, mate, we were drinking out of cow troughs half the time.
Now it's shipped halfway around the world. Like it's insane.
Yeah, yep. And my kids, oh, have you got any water, Dad? And I'm like, yeah, it's in the tap. No, bottled water. They won't drink it out of the tap. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And it's the same with meat. You know, my parents, their parents, and it's a process. You know, what was for dinner? Dad would have to go and get a kangaroo tail for dinner, or you know, bring home some kangaroo for dinner, and that's how it was. And if he didn't go and shoot it, they wouldn't eat. You know, in my day, we were doing Dad was doing home kills, and you know, we were lucky enough to have our own food on a bit of a farm and got it. But my kids, if it didn't come in a packet from the butcher shop, no way are they going to eat it. And you know what'll happen? Their kids, they'll be out hunting rabbits again. It's a system that goes around, and the strong will end up, I suppose feeding the weak, and the weak will become strong again.
It's funny, isn't it? At the moment, how just the cost of living is just keeps skyrocketing, and we're sitting there at the moment. I've got three young ones. My twins are now 1 year old, and I've got a 3-year-old, and the amount of food they eat, and Jesus, they'd go through a punnet, 2 punnets of strawberries a day. And we're lucky we're on a bit of a property here, so I've got a fair bit of veggies growing, and we do our own strawberries. But we've noticed over winter, obviously strawberries aren't running because the heat's not there, and man, it's cost us some cash in just feeding the little ones. And that's not even talking about red meat. When you start looking at red meat and seafood, the pricing is just going up and up and up. I think it's a real skill at the moment, whether it be hunting, fishing, that ability to provide for yourself. Not only is it amazing to know from sort of woe to go what has happened to the animal and that meal that you're having, but also the financial incentives that are coming along with it. Like I knocked off a couple of goats a while back, and that was great. $1.50. I think the bullet cost back then has probably gone up now because they're gone through the roof. But, you know, $1.50, and I got a heap of great goat meat, and that fed us for a while.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And that's something I quite often see, you know, my freezers, I think I've got 3 freezers, and they're chockers. They're absolute chockers full of meat. And I swap a lot. I trade a lot. I give a lot away. I give a lot back to farmers. People say to me, well, how do you get hunting properties? And I go there and shoot the animal and then give it back to them in sausages, and they're over, you know, the first person they're going to contact to come and shoot their, you know, pigs or come and shoot their deer or something is me, because I gave it back to them all in sausages, and they were quite, you know, they're happy about it. So a good way of getting hunting properties, if you've got that skill and you know how to do it. But, you know, as you said, to save money and just so some of those cuts of meat, fantastic. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. And it's just the technique as well, being able to remove that. So even the lesser cuts of meat, like some shanks, if you slow cooked some venison shanks, turns out to a beautiful meal, very little cost involved for everyone, and quality food. Venison shanks, what would you pay in a restaurant for venison shanks? Oh my God.
That is the big one. You're just so right. I did a tomahawk steak the other night on the pellet grill. I reverse seared it. And so just put it in the smoker, got it up to a medium rare, and then hit it on the hot plate on the cast iron. I love cooking on the cast iron pans. And we worked it out. We sat there and worked it out that it was probably, I think it cost us about $40. And our mates had one probably in the last 6 months. It was 260, and they shared it between 4 people. And I was sitting here with the wife going, well, we've just shared this. It cost us, what, $20 each. And it will be comparable with the others because, a reverse sear is pretty easy to do. You're oven baking the thing until a certain temp, and then you just, smashing the outside on a hot pan. It's not that hard to do.
Wait till you get one of them off a Camel.
Oh, that's the thing. Like, I still regret that I had to pay the $40 to get it. If I can get it, oh mate, Camel is just that's Camel and buffalo. The other one's crocodile.
Definitely.
I love eating the old crocodile. It's such a shame that we don't utilize enough here in Australia. I do think that's one of our things, and I understand from a primary industry point of view is that we want to make sure that people are, I guess, spending their money and supporting farmers, and I've got no issue with that. But geez, I'd love to be able to eat a lot of our native wildlife too.
I've always said it, and we've got the most untapped. The kangaroo is the unutilized meat of the world. It really is. It is just in abundance here, and we don't use it. And it's a beautiful meat. There's nothing wrong. We could feed. We wouldn't have a homeless, or not homeless, but we wouldn't have a starving. There'd be no one hungry if they started eating kangaroo. We had generations that grew up on it, but yet you say to somebody, "Oh, would you like some kangaroo?" Oh no, that's pet food. And you see a lot of it now in pet food, in pet stores. This is crazy.
Oh, 100%. And the argument that it's the coat of arms, I've never understood, you can't eat that because it's on the coat of arms. It's like, hold on, what the hell? It's a picture of a shield with the 2 animals on it. That doesn't, the logic behind that has just always, I have no idea where it came from.
Yeah, in my eyes, it's protein, and protein's on the table. Simple as that. And that's where it belongs. Whether it be kangaroo, whether it be cow, sheep, venison, rabbit, it's a protein, and I'm happy to put it on the table. It's a part of the food that goes onto a table. Simple as that.
I love the challenge of cooking different meats, and I really hear what you're saying about the slow cooking and the whatnot. That is such a challenge, but I also like having that, just being able to grill her up and have the difference between like venison or kangaroo or beef or lamb, that they're also different and they're also unique. And I find that I don't get bored with flavor if I'm always rotating, and that's something I really enjoy. How hard is that because how long's it been since you've just pretty much ate game meat?
I think it's coming up to now 13, 14 years. So I've just been eating. I haven't been to a butcher shop for that long, but
that's super impressive.
It's not too bad, but my rotation of meat's quite big. As in, like, I won't just eat the same. As I said before, I won't eat the same thing. I've also got a extensive range of seafood as well. So if there's crabs or crayfish, or I can get fish, or some shellfish in season, or mussels, or whatever it may be, I'm happy to delve into that, and being able to change it around a little bit as well, just doing different sort of dishes, different. I might make pizzas out of something, or as I said, I'm making a cob loaf tomorrow, so all sorts of different meals, and being able to expand on those meals and use them for different things. Might nachos, or try and add a little bit to it or take a little bit from it. And
I love the fact that you can just, we are so blessed in this country that we have a landscape where we can just go and get seafood. We can get meat. Like, it's sensational. I mean, where else would you rather be?
We are very lucky. We definitely are very lucky when it comes to food. Our food options, we are the lucky country. We certainly are.
100%. And the challenge of all different sort of hunting styles, whether it be hunting, fishing, spear fishing, all that, or getting lobsters. It's such a they're just such a broad thing, and I don't think you could ever get bored with it. Like, even if it's seasonal, like we're coming into summer, it's warming up. I'm just super keen to get out on the water and do some fishing, and hopefully get back in the water and do some spear fishing. It's just such a great lifestyle. It's we are so blessed for it.
Absolutely, definitely, yeah. And I can't wait. You're right. And my food preferences and my food options always change yearly. It's kind of that sort of lifestyle. I'll that slow cooker will get put away, and out will come the barbecue or different techniques of cooking. On the barbie or outdoor cooking, even in summertime, and it changes with it. I'll start doing other recipes and a lighter meals, or even different preserves and stuff. Plates will come out in that sense. It's good.
Well, mate, I mean, hunt, catch, cook, you really are living up to the name of what you've called it. It's sensational to always watch you putting things up, and, just getting to watch Facebook. And I don't get out as much as I'd like to at the moment, but, watching other people do it and be successful, I get a joy out of that too. And watching you with those camels and pulling those things apart and holding them up, and it's been awesome to watch. So, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast, giving up your time over there. There is a bit of a time difference as well, so it's a lot earlier than where it is here. But, mate, really appreciate it. I do hope you get your third book out there, because I've thoroughly enjoyed your first two. It's only, I think my favourite from each at the moment, I love the stuffed squid tubes. Man, that was good. And I did your whole duck.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, yep. So they're my one from each. It was good. So thanks, mate. I appreciate the recipe there, because it was sensational, and, the wife has thoroughly enjoyed your books and whatnot too. So keep doing what you're doing. It's great to see the passion. It's great to see the outcome, and, oh, man, just food is just the winner at the end of the day, and that gets people on board for hunting. So keep doing it and keep growing that Facebook, mate. It's going super well.
I appreciate it, Matt. Thanks very much for having us on tonight, mate. It's been good, and it's always good to catch up. It was great last time. It was a good laugh, and watch this space, I suppose, because it's having time, and I think it'll come back around. I'll get that bug again, and I'll settle down and get stuck into writing a book. And as I said, got a missus, and new inspirations will come along and all the time, and I'll something will happen. Something will happen for sure. But no, I appreciate the love and support, mate. Thanks very much, and good luck with the podcast.
Mate, no, thank you. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. And guys, if you haven't, you must be living under a rock, but jump on Facebook and Instagram, Hunt, Catch, Cook. Check out Jason's stuff. You won't regret it. And if you can get the opportunity to grab a couple of his books, you won't regret that either. They are on my shelf as a go-to whenever we're cooking, so we appreciate it. All right, guys, thanks for joining us. Bye for now. If you have a topic, guest, question, or any gear that you want to hear about on the podcast, shoot us an email, australianhuntingandbeyond@gmail.com. Alternatively, find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All the links are in the show notes. If you haven't already, make sure you give us a review and subscribe to our podcast on whatever platform you're listening on. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.